How do you sort out the so-called jargon from real-world practices that work? Do the members of your organization find some business or technology advice utterly confusing? Welcome to Real Talk with Sam Holcman. In this program, we set the record straight, and in terms that business people and technology people can understand. Now, here is your host, Sam Holcman.
Welcome to this edition of Real Talk. This is Sam Holcman, and today's topic is on the 4 vital components in artificial intelligence. And what we want to bring to our audience is an understanding of the 4 vital components of an artificial intelligence environment, so as organizations move forward, they can understand what their options are. So the 4 components of artificial intelligence and the technology behind it are generally referred to as the following. One is what we call the process or procedure division. A second is the data division. The third is the person-machine interface division. And the fourth is the machine-to-machine interface division. I'm going to start with the fourth one first, and then we'll move backwards, and you'll see why. Machine-to-machine interface division. That is the technology, the architecture, all of the components and understanding that is required to take something, either a process or a piece of data, and move it from one machine to another. And that's why we call it the machine-to-machine interface division. A second is the person-to-machine interface division. And there's many different terms that organizations and people use and software vendors use for that. Customer exchange, user interfaces, all those phrases that are out there. In other words, how do you interact with the technology? It can be online, it can be voice, it could be a multitude of various ways that you do that. So we call that the person-machine interface division. And all 4 of these components are independent, yet obviously need integration, and in some cases, in a lesser way, we refer to as interfacing. The third component is the one that we hear a lot about when it comes to artificial intelligence, and that is the processing engine, or the process division, or the process component of artificial intelligence. And that is essentially the code that we have to understand all the algorithms that are going on in the processing. That's why we call it the processing or procedure division. And that is usually provided by some third-party vendor, and there's lots of different artificial intelligence software that's out there at this particular point in time. The fourth, and I'm going to suggest to you, is the most important, is the data part of this. So we have the data division or data component of that. And that is the backbone. That is the engine. That is the fuel for artificial intelligence. And what we're going to suggest in this and other broadcasts coming up is that that particular component is going to make or break this particular technology. And when we say that, that is where the understanding, that is where the vital activities are being processed from. What is that source of information? Is it vetted? Is it accurate? What is it based on? What is the provenance for that particular set of data that is out there? Is it yours? Is it someone else's? And we're going to be discussing that, of course, in upcoming broadcasts. And hopefully you'll take a look at these broadcasts and recognize why all these 4 components are vital to your understanding. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay well.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Talk. Be sure to join your host, Sam Holcman, again for another edition of our program. We'll have more real topics of discussion then.